Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama here to talk Tide, SEC, and the nation each and every week. Catch him on his show The Way It Is on Fox 97.9 weekdays, 2 to 4 Central Time. And, of course, the long-form conversation between Stephen and myself is available on Podbean, iTunes, and Stitcher. Just search Mark Rogers TV. Stephen, we anticipate college football. We look forward to it. We just can't wait to see the first weekend of play. The off season is so long, but you've been discussing with some of the listeners this week about maybe this college football season being just slightly disappointing to date. Can you explain your thoughts there?
I mean, there's only been really a handful of games this year that has really grabbed your attention. I mean, the majority of games this year have either been just absolute blowouts, or there have been ones where you really see a team that's not in particular trying and they get ran over by the other team. You've only seen maybe a handful of games this year where you're like, man, that's a good game. Or, man, that's a challenging game. Or, man, this is going to be an intense matchup. You've only seen probably a couple that have really kept you, sitting down on the couch. Or if you're a student or a fan that goes to these particular events, they've really kept you sitting down at these events watching what's going on. There haven't been a lot of games this year where they've compelled me. They've forced me to sit down and look at two teams really battling it out.
So, Stephen, to back up your point, some of the big games that were anticipated preseason that come to mind that didn't pay off as anticipated were, of course, Florida State, Alabama. Florida State hung in there toe-to-toe for about 2.5 quarters, but sometime in the third quarter, it got away, and it wasn't the nail-biter, just classic that some people anticipated at 24-7. Clemson, Louisville, Lamar Jackson coming off the Heisman season. That turned into an ugly game extremely in a hurry. Ohio State, Oklahoma. If one thing, we expected Ohio State to roll Oklahoma, or we expected a great game and the Sooners to come back after being dismantled in Norman last year, and that disappointed. That's probably the marquee, was the outside of Florida State, Alabama, was considered, hey, this is the game that people are looking forward to in regards to shaping the college football playoff picture, and Oklahoma went in there and dismantled Ohio State. We'll see if the Buckeyes are improving against quality competition down the road. So some of the more anticipated matchups have disappointed. Now, maybe a game like Penn State and Iowa, not on the national radar for the most part. The Hawkeyes played well. It came down to the last drive and the last play and turned into an exciting game. So college football, there's so many games being played that some games somewhere each and every weekend, at least a handful, are going to come through and entertain, but they're not necessarily the ones we're anticipating being the classic games.
So our own Mark Rogers is going with, beauty and greatness lies in the eyes of the beholder. What are you beholding that's greatness right now? So I like the angle you took that in, Mark.
Well, there's always something to like out there. There's 130 FBS teams. So on the average weekend, maybe 10 or 12 take the week off. You've got 50 games to choose from. And even if you're just honing in on the Power 5, you've got a good 25 or 30 games to choose from. So somebody's playing a really good game somewhere. It just may not necessarily be the ones we're looking for, i.e. last week, Stephen, Iowa State going to Oklahoma, and all of a sudden the nation's eyes turned toward Norman, where they thought that was going to be a yawner, and suddenly the number 3 team in the country is in trouble and gets upset. That's what college football does.
That game right there. Talk about a former walk-on linebacker. Gets moved to quarterback. Then he's a red shirt. Then he's a third-string quarterback. The other two get hurt. You're called into duty, and the former walk-on, now red shirt, third-string quarterback takes out Baker Mayfield? Are you kidding me? Wow.
Yeah, quite a story with the Cyclones pulling off the upset against Oklahoma. The Sooners will have to get off the deck as they face their major rival in Texas this week. As we look over the national landscape, that's one of the bigger games to look out for. All right. Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama, joins us each and every week to talk Tide and the SEC and the nation. We always enjoy the conversation, Stephen.
No problem, Mark. Appreciate you guys. And another week of college football this weekend.